Hey, this is Bubba on the road. I'm at Balinger Creek Pike at the park, Balinger Creek Park. And I'm just going to do a little walk around, and I thought I'd talk about my day a little bit. There's a farm or something over there, and they have big signs everywhere. Keep out, do not enter, all that. Don't they realize when they put up those signs, that makes me want to climb a fence. I'm not much for climbing fences, but I'm tempted to climb that fence because it says, keep out, no trespassing, stay away. What are they going to do? Yell, get off of my property, I have a sign up. Big deal. So, today I went to my lung doctor. There's going to be this loud mower coming up where I'm coming to. So you're not going to hear me, blah, 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 blah. Now, whoever heard of standing up on a lot, riding a lawnmower? Like, don't even have a seat? You mean the Balinger Creek Park can't even afford to buy a seat on their lawnmower? What is the world coming to? So anyway, I'm here walking around, and I went to the lung doctor today. Now, there's some little background here. If we were in court, I would be considered a hostile witness. We have sort of a love-dislike thing going on. I dislike him, and he loves my co-pays. So anyway, it's a long story, but you have time, right? Sit down, get something cool to drink, prop your feet up. It's going to be story time with Bubba. So I'll start at the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven. Oh, no, not that far back. Let's go back to about a year, a little over a year, probably a year and a month, maybe a year and 6 weeks. If I check my calendar, I'd know better, but my calendar's not here with me. My calendar's on my phone. If I checked my phone calendar, I cut you off. So there you go. So it's a little over a year. I went to my regular doctor that I've been going to for 20-some years. And there's dogs running in the dog park. They have a little dog park here. And you can see the dogs. I'm so easily distracted. There's a guy mowing over here, 2 guys mowing over there. That's in the keep out, do not look property. So I don't know if they're going to sue me for pointing the camera at them or not. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, I was at my regular doctor. And I've been seeing him about 30 years. And he says to me, I think you need to get checked, a full checkup. You know, like when you take your car in and they say, we got to, kick the wheels and check everything. So he says, I want you to go to the heart doctor, to the lung doctor, go see the internist about a possible colonoscopy, blah, 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 blah. And I hate going to doctors, so I was like, blah, 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 blah. So I thought I hadn't been for a while, so I'll go. So I went to the heart doctor, and of course everybody knows that's when I started doing my changes where I have lost so much weight because the heart doctor recommended it, and my heart was in good shape. Had a double check this year. Also in good shape, but now let's get to the lung doctor. So it had been a couple of years since I had seen him, and okay, that's lesson 1. When you see vicious dogs on a trail, you just ignore them. You just keep walking. You stop talking so not to distract them, but you keep walking. Keep moving. So anyway, so I go to the lung doctor, and as soon as I see him, I realize why I haven't been to the lung doctor in so long, because I don't like him. So the lung doctor says to me, yeah, hello, Mr. Fry. Why don't we do a sleep study for you? Now, it's not for me. Like, if it would be for me, I'd say, can you do this? And he'd say, oh, I'm doing this for you. No, it's for him. So he says, let's do a sleep study. I said, how about if I take a little cat nap and we call it even? No go. No deal, as I would say if I was out shopping. So then I say, it reminds me, the cat nap reminds me when Megan was little. Now, some people say I'm the crazy uncle. Now look at this face. Is this the face of a crazy uncle? No. So I go to, when Megan was little, I used to play a game with her where I would say, let's do a cat nap. And we close our eyes and we go, meow, meow, meow. and we'd both see who could meow the loudest. And then we would just go around robin and do any animal we could think of, till eventually we'd get to an animal that doesn't make a noise. You know, eventually there's some animals that are quiet. Not these birds here today. There, you hear them chirping away. They love when I come, but I'm afraid, sorry guys, I don't have my camera, no pictures, no photo ops today. I didn't bring my camera with me. So anyway, so that was our little game as when she was a kid, and we would close our eyes, and then we'd say, let's take a dog nap. And she was just little, so it was my way of teaching her animal sounds. Some kids had a little see and say. Megan had Bubba and say. Okay, so anyway, so we get back to where was we? So we're going to do a sleep study. So I said, okay, we'll do the sleep study. It'll make you happy. We'll do a sleep study. So they give me this paper and they say, okay, you're coming on this day. You're going to spend the night here. We want you to be comfortable, so bring anything that you usually sleep with to be comfortable. If you have a pillow that you're used to or a blanket or whatever, because we want you to sleep well. I'm like, okay. So I kept thinking I ought to take some of Marissa's toys and just hold them while I'm sleeping and act like I sleep with stuff down. So I get there and they say, again, they say, we want you to be comfortable. Now, when a doctor says we want you to be comfortable, what they mean is we want to think that we make you comfortable. They don't really care if you're comfortable. They just want to believe they made you comfortable. So the guy go in there, so the nice lady comes out. She says, okay, this is the bed. It pulls out a bed out of the wall. Yeah, you know, I felt like a whore. They pull the bed out of the wall. Okay, let's get to it. So she see, I don't think of these things before I get to them. I just says whatever pops in my head. Sometimes I say. So anyway, she brings this bed out, and she says she hooks me all up. They hook me all up, and she says there are two important things: don't let these things come off, and don't get the wires tangled up. But sleep good. So I'm supposed to sleep well, but I can't move. And I move, I'm moving all the time. So then I look over and I see this nice little innocent looking window, and she says, I'm going to be right in that room watching you. So not only am I all hooked up, got things everywhere, got a thing on my head, she's watching me from the thing. Like, I feel like saying, I know how to sleep, why don't we just call it even? So I go through this whole thing, I go in there and she says, okay, get comfortable and go to sleep. So I'm tossing and turning, I'm thinking somebody's spying on me. I think all these wires, I can't get them all mixed up, I can't get them all together. So anyway, they finally finish the sleep study, and I knew what they were going to say. I'm sleep apathetic. You know, that's what they say. You have sleep apathy. So I go to the doctor, go to the lung doctor, and he says, okay, you have sleep apathy. We're going to fix this by putting this thing over your face and sticking something in your mouth, and it's going to blow in air or help you breathe, supposedly. Now, I haven't mentioned yet that I have anxiety about choking, about having my mouth covered. I don't like having my mouth. I don't like that. That's not me. So I know I can't use the machine. So I say to the lung doctor, okay, I understand that that's what you're saying. I accept that that's what you're saying, but I have no interest. I know I can't sleep with that machine. So he says, well, this is what you got to do, sir, Mr. Fry, because, you know, when they want to be all official and think you got to listen to them, they're Mr. Fry. I felt like saying, I'll Mr. Fry you. So I said, you know, I can't use it. So he writes on my paper, for the release paper for that day, patient is uncooperative with treatment. So I see it on the paper before I leave. He hands me the paper, and I see that he says that. I said, I'm not being uncooperative. I just know I can't use it. So would it be better for me to sleep like I'm doing now or not sleep at all? You tell me. He says, it would be better for you to use a machine. I'll tell you what it is. It's a racket. These sleep study people are in cahoots with the sleep machines, and they're all in it together. It's a racket. Just like tennis, it's a racket. What purpose could it possibly be to have a little ball stand on a court and hit it back and forth, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're a sport. That's just like golf. Golf is walking. I'm golfing today. I just forgot my clubs and I forgot my golf ball. But I'm golfing because I'm walking in a park. So anyway, so it's all a racket. Just like the Rock being sexiest man alive. It's a racket. He's not even named Rock. And when he does film scenes for movies, all he does is nonsensical gibberish. And then they get CGI to come in and fix it all up, and they say he's an actor. So anyway, so he's not happy with me, and I'm not happy with him. He says, your doctor will not be happy to know that you will not use this machine. I said, well, then that makes two of us who would be unhappy, because I would be unhappy to use the machine and not be able to sleep. So this is the nature of our relationship. So I go back, and the first question he asked me earlier this year when I went back was, have you been using the sleep apnea machine? Now, I'll tell you, he knows I haven't because I didn't get one. So I say, as I explained to you before, I have anxiety about my mouth being covered. I cannot sleep like that. I'm not going to do that. I have trouble even when I'm in the hospital and they give me oxygen. So I'm not going to use it. So he sort of grunts and, groans and all that sort of thing. So then he says, okay, well, I'm going to do other tests on your lungs. So he wants to do a lung density test. Now, I'll tell you who's dense. The lung doctor is dense. He has all these degrees and he's a fancy lung doctor, but he's as dense as dense can be. I don't like to talk bad about people, but he is dense. Have I said before the lung doctor is dense? So anyway, so he's going to do a lung density test. Now, if you've never had one, what that is you get in this, like it used to be a telephone booth. Remember Superman used to get in the telephone booth, he'd spin around, he'd come out, he'd be Superman. When you get in this booth, you don't come out and you're not Superman. You're still the same old guy, but your lungs are worn out. Because they have this machine, you got to put your lips on the machine, they put a clothespin on your nose. That's what it looks like. But you're in a machine, and they can shut the door. So the woman said has a microphone. She thinks she's Diana Ross, and she says, breathe deep, breathe in, blow it out hard, breathe a big deep breath in. She's telling me how to breathe. Plus she's got my nose clogged, and she's got a thing, and I got to lean on this thing. You got to lean just right. And first she says, oh, your tongue is obstructing your airway. Yes, my tongue is obstructing the airway because I have anxiety about having this thing on my mouth. So, we go through the whole thing. So the lung doctor, dense. So anyway, they do this whole density test. And she's like, breathe, 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 push, breathe, breathe. I feel like at the end of this, I'm going to have a baby. I feel like saying, is it a boy or a girl? Breathe, breathe. The only thing missing was she never heated hot water. There was no water heated. She didn't run get towels. So maybe I'm not having a baby, but I'm doing something. So I go through this whole thing. So anyway, so they finish the test, and of course she can't tell me anything because she's just a tech. She's not the doctor. I got to talk to the doctor, the dense doctor, may I add. And he also had like an X-ray of my lungs and blah 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 blah. So today was the day. So I said all that. I've been talking for 13 minutes to get to why I went today. So I go to the doctor, and he starts out on a hostile note. The first thing he says to me is, how are you, Mr. Fry? You're the doctor. You did a lung density test. You're the expert. You tell me how I am. So then we go downhill from there. So in the end of it, he says, okay, we've done your lung density test, and I've got good news, and I've got bad news. The good news is everything is fine with your lungs. The oxygen proliferation, blah, 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 whatever. He uses some fancy word. I don't know what it is. You medical people can tell what it is. But your oxidization is good. Your lungs are normal size. They're very strong. Your breathing was fine. You had no problems. I felt like saying, but I got my tongue in my airway. So then he says, but the problem is you got to use the machine. And I said, we've been through this before. You can tell me that 100 times. But I'm not going to use the machine because I felt like putting my hand over my mouth and having a panic attack in front of him just to show him what it was. Start hitting him, punching him in the face so that he knows that ain't going to work. So he says, okay, well, I think you're good for another year or so. Put you on a PRN, which those of you in the medical field know, it means as is, as needed. So if I need it again, I go back. But I ain't going back. Because my doctor, my family doctor, is not on the internet. If you look him up, Google him, www.Michael Fry's medical records with his family doctor, you'll see a big nothing burger because he don't post it on the internet. He has it all in a stack of papers. And what I used to do when I wasn't as worried about my health is he would say, you need to go see this doctor, that doctor, that doctor. I'd say, okay. And I'd take the referrals. I'd leave them in the trunk of my car. I wouldn't look at them again until I go back and see him again. And then he would say, he'd look through his papers, and he'd have to look through to find out what he told me the last time. And he'd say, I think you're due for, and he'd give me the referrals again. Thank you, doctor. And I wouldn't go. But, I realized I'm really just hurting myself. I should go get things checked out. And now I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of medical tests to figure out, to make sure I'm in good shape. I feel like I am. I feel good. But, in the next couple of days, tomorrow I have another one, so hopefully that'll go well. I'm a little bit concerned, but, hopefully it'll go well. But anyway, so that is Bubba with the dense lung doctor. Now, I was going to call him out by name, but I will not yet. Maybe I will later. If he keeps giving me trouble about that sleep machine, that racket he's in with that sleep machine, you might hear from me. But again, this is a beautiful day in the park. It's hot today. It's a little hot, but I did sit down in the shade because it's nice and shaded. There's no real breeze. But it's so hot out that I wish I could run into Kate Gosselin for the coolness between us. That would cool me down. You got to believe it. Okay, have a good day. And I have got to do something about my hair. The Hair Club for Men, dye it, start wearing a wig. If you know somebody who makes good quality, cheap wigs, because I ain't paying an arm and a leg for a wig, let me know. Have a good day. And remember, today is today, so make it your day today.